Greetings, my juicy co-creators. I am Susie Jervich and want to give you a little intro on the Akashic records that I do with others. First of all, I call myself a time traveler because, as I found with the records, when I am working with somebody using the records, it's like I time travel to a different location from the soul's aspect, and typically it's a past life regression piece. From that point, I'm able to go directly to the place or origin, the origin point or the place of cause that is now presenting an effect in present day time now. So by using the Akashic records, the records themselves inform my clients of a possible perspective that is becoming known once the origin or the initial cause has been uncovered. So this is a little bit like a needle in a haystack. However, because of my passion for this work and my love of helping others, the Akashic records are very simple and fast for me to retrieve. With that being said, once the record is found where the initial cause of a present moment experience began, then we are able to go in and gain perspective and understanding about why it's still showing up in present life, meaning showing up with patterns of behavior or systems that in some cases have never worked in this lifetime for my clients. So once we get to that point of origin, begin to really look at everything that was factored in during that timeline, my client has the ability to discern from that information how best to see that playing out today. From there, what we may do with an Akashic record is go in and do some clearing, removing blocks, and replacing with more positive and productive strategies for living their best life now. Bing! Okay, so this is all about say me to stress-free. So that was a little blip about what I do. So stress comes. Stress shows up in people's lives. I want to get right into this. I've got 3 strategies for you to ponder and consider. The first one, number 1, is you're in a stressful position, and it could be somebody that you're talking to on the phone or somebody that's right there with you. My first tip, the first place to go, my first go-to is to breathe. Because when we're under stress, what we may find is that we're not breathing deeply. Okay? So when you go into that breathing, you might say to yourself, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Very good. Just a simple act of noticing your breath and being aware of your breath, and also scanning your body for any tension or anything that's arising in that stressful moment. From that space, consider sitting just for a moment. Sometimes somebody's right there in front of you, but consider staying just in a little bit of a pause for a moment and tap into your higher self. Okay, if you don't know what that means, just if you have a faith, going into your faith, believing in the highest expression of your own self, and tapping in at that level for how best to proceed. Okay? So sometimes when you neutralize an experience you're presently in by being more still and more in a relaxation response, then the opportunity for a easier and more flowing outcome, it may manifest by simply noticing your breath. Step 2, or tip number 2, I call this pivot dance. So here's the deal. you're at work or you're at home and everything's going great, and all of a sudden something comes into your field of awareness. And that might be a thought, or it may be a vision, or it may be just something, like you're fine, and then the next minute you're feeling sad, or the next minute you're feeling angry, or the next minute you're feeling shame or unworthiness or some type of guilt. But what's weird is that a few minutes before you were like, I'm on top of the mountain, okay? So with that being said, I want you to consider this. I want you to consider that thought or that impression or whatever came into your field of awareness may possibly not be yours. And it's something, if you choose to believe that that's possible, then you can make a choice to remove that from your field of awareness. It's almost like taking that feeling of shame and imagining that you can take it out of your body system and put it in a mason jar. Then you look at the mason jar and you look at the shame that's inside of it. You look at it and then you make a judgment call. Is this my shame? It's in a mason jar. It's not even in your body anymore. Or, is it mine or isn't it? And that's a point where you can choose to remove it. Some people are like, oh my God, that's my shame. I need time to think. I need time to think about that shame. Okay, for me, I've been through so much stuff as my gifts came in that when I get into any period or instantaneous amount of suffering, I'm ready to remove it immediately. My process is real simple. I would take that mason jar in my hand, I would look at it, and then I would send that mason jar off into the light, just directing it to the light. Now, if you need a more concrete example of how this works, the pivot dance, let's just say you're walking down the street, somebody in front of you spits out a piece of gum, you step on it, now the gum is on your shoe. All of a sudden, you wouldn't say, oh my God, I feel such grief about this gum, or oh my God, I feel so much, fear and self-doubt and unworthiness. No, you would probably go, that's not my gum. That's real easy to distinguish. That is not my gum. And in most cases, a person with gum on their shoes would say, I'm going to remove it. And you're going to get it off quick. I know when I step on gum or something, I don't want it because every time I step, I get stuck on something. So you remove it. All right. So this is changing your idea about what you hang on to and what you can do to remove things that you do not want. In my case, sometimes that I have some feelings that are of a little bit of a negative nature. I still don't want it. Even if it's my business, I've had enough suffering in this life. Anything that shows up that's less than or makes me feel bad, I directly send it to the light. Okay? Now, you could say light or God or, Christ consciousness, to the moon or stars, whatever it is that resonates for you. Now, the next one is about stresses. Sometimes we may get stress. This is tip number 3. This is about dignity. So we're going straight into dignity. So this is for a person who has a problem saying no. They're stressed out because somebody's making a request. They're like, oh God, that person really depends on me. And half of it may be ego, like, well, I certainly am the only person that can do this. Or they wouldn't have asked me because I'm so, amazing. Anyway, I don't know what the deal is, but you can say no. And let me tell you how you can do this. So instead of going into a stressed out deal, I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So somebody calls me up and says, hey, Susie. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Hey, I want you to do this for me. I'll be like, what is it? Well, I've decided that I want you to wash my car every morning at 5 a.m. so that when I go to work, my car's clean. So what do you think? I love you. You're my best friend. So what I would do, because I want to keep dignity going on here, I didn't even get stressed by that because I have a tool and a resource given to me by Linda Starr, my teacher. Basically, here's the deal. Somebody asks you to do something, you're not going to do it. You're obviously not going to do it. This is what you do. I'm from the South. You smile and you say, thank you. But I cannot do that. Okay, that's strategy 1. Strategy 2 is, Susie, can you take care of my car and get it cleaned up every morning at 5 so I can have a nice clean car to go to work? Strategy 2 is, no, I can't. But you know what? I really feel like you need some help. I'm available on Saturday between like 2 and 3. If I can help you during that time, I'd be willing to come see you. I'd love to see you anyway. Okay. Here's strategy number 3. Hey, Susie, I was really making this request that you come clean my car, Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. so I can have a nice clean car at work. Strategy number 3 is this. You know what? Thank you so much for asking. I'm not able to do that. However, we have a neighbor boy that lives a couple doors down, and he's been looking to make a little bit of extra money. Would you like his name and phone number to see if he can help you? Bam! 3 strategies. First one is a straight up no. Second one was a no. However, here's something that I might be able to do. Strategy number 3 is no. I found somebody that might be able to do it for money. All right. So these are some strategies right here. Bada bada bing. Staying with dignity. Okay, so we're going to go over the 3 tips again. Number 1 is breathe. Breathe into your highest power and highest level of frequency and consciousness before you speak. Diffuse, because it's only experience. Diffuse before you speak. All right? Breathe. Number 2 is do a pivot where you receive new information that's no longer in your consciousness. You take a look at it and you say, this is not mine, and send it to the light. Number 3 is setting a boundary. Setting a boundary and giving choices for the person who's making the request. Don't say yes all the time. Stop doing that. No is okay. It is okay to say no. With that being said, I love you, juicy co-creators, and I'm on fire with some juicy, juicy frequency and some awesome, awesome vibe. So you have a most juicy day, and we shall visit on another day. Many, many juicy blessings.